I'm happy to say, the 25th century and the cast, the reunited cast of Star Trek The Next Generation return to our screens for Star Trek Picard, or stepping out of that transporter there for this 10-part season, and our continuing mission to keep track with Trek as Star Trek Picard Season 3 moves forward from that monumental cliffhanger to Episode 3 last week. My God, I have been on the edge of my seat about this literally all week. Couldn't wait to see what happened next. Not just because the Titan was dead in the water, dead in the nebula, I should say. I couldn't work out where it was going to go next. And more to the point, we've got Captain Riker and Admiral Picard looking at each other like I don't think we've ever seen them look at one another before, and that old relationship, the working relationship, and more importantly that friendship, could be in jeopardy here, not least of all because they've only got a few hours left to live after a decision made by Admiral Picard went spectacularly wrong. I've been looking forward to this all week. I think you all have too. Chris, are you still as in love with this show as you have been? Has this been brightening up your week, even in a miserable week?
Oh yes, well, and I have to head off shortly because yes, my life is nutty. I already told Dan this, but so I may be just materializing away part way through the discussion. So I'll try and summarize my thoughts as best as I can. Well, I'm here. So is it living up to the expectations? I am almost in shock. No, I would say I am in shock. I have never seen a turnaround like this in entertainment history. You have a franchise that was basically dead. The second season of Picard, I think, is even worse than the STD of things. It was the nadir of Star Trek. I think most of us thought it was dead. I think the best we could hope for is season 3 might be watchable. I almost don't have the words, and I know not everybody likes this. And I know some people are, without naming names, still purposely not liking it for the sake of not liking it or because they're mad at other people. But my God, the tweet that I put out right after watching it, and you can disagree if you want, but I said this is almost as good as this franchise gets. It's just the acting. Jonathan Frakes, I think these past 2 episodes, is the best. It's the best performance he's ever given. Even Patrick Stewart. You look at it, and I watch it. I keep expecting it to do a face plant, just because we're so used to it. So we go into this. I'm like, things that we don't see anymore, like actual character drama, which is not forced. If you want to compare it to STD, they'd all be crying and doing stuff by this. But no, it's like you have that arc between Picard and Riker, which easily could have been forced, or it could have come off as completely fake, but it doesn't. These are characters with a certain amount of history. The falling out, and then sort of the reconciliation by the end of part 2. I think it's believable. You have Riker as, he used to be the young heroic character. Now I hate to use the term because many ways it means different things, but he's now a damaged character. He's been through trauma. He's questioning really the nature of existence by this point. So I love that interplay. There are actual stakes. The shooting the filming and the direction, although I know Ian is a little bit better versed to critique this than I am, but I thought it was beautiful. I love I think the darker, the fact that the scenes are darker. I think it actually works. I think this is what Deep Space Nine would have looked like had it been filmed today. I like the villain. I don't want to get into spoilers, but I kind of some people are torn on the revelation. I think it's kind of cool depending on where they're going to go with it. I like the arc with Picard's son, and I can never remember his name, so I just call him Grumpy Space Doctor House, Captain of the Titan.
Captain Shaw. Yeah.
Sure.
That shows kind of how mature the writing is on this show compared to what we've had the previous seasons. Now, I did call it. I think
What you
everybody
just
knew
said.
him. Like it's going to be he was at Wolf 359 or he lost something.
Yeah,
we knew that was going to
I
happen.
knew that was going to happen, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
I did.
Dan, we told you.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
can
that kind
tell
of
that he had a lot of
TV
bias.
But it's but no, I love the way they actually
Very
played that off because
disco-esque.
it could have easily come off as cartoonish with well, I'll just call him
Yeah.
Captain Grumpy. It could have come off as cartoonish, but then
Chris, I want to pick up on something you said.
And the
I
emotion.
want to pick up on
that
something
he
you
showed.
said a couple of minutes ago, though, because when you were saying that about the acting there between Picard and his son Jack and Shaw's clear PTSD, other elements of this, it's getting to the point now where, I just like you, I know there are people out there who aren't enjoying this on whatever level or won't bring themselves to enjoy this on whatever level. And you can say this is not the best Trek ever made, or some of the best, or whatever you feel about that. I feel that this is not only some of the best acting I've ever seen in Star Trek. This is some of the best material and acting that I've seen in a genre show for years.
And I think one thing that we need to highlight is, and Star Trek has completely lost this in the past 6 years. But it became evident, going back to what it originally meant in this episode, where, Star Trek was about to seek out strange new worlds, new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. In all the drama that was going on, it's something that actually harkens back to Encounter at Farpoint. That final scene with Space Baby or whatever they're called. I don't know. I think they may be the same aliens that were in Encounter.
I did wonder because they had tendrils, didn't they, Chris? I did wonder.
But that's what Star Trek is about, and I think that's what, especially, not so much with Strange New Worlds, but with the first 2 seasons of this show and that disgrace that we won't speak of. That's one of the things that have been lost. But in this episode, as we see the Space Baby, I'm like, this is what Star Trek is about. And even at the end, they start saying the lines. And, just the one last thing I want to say, which for me was such a highlight, is when Picard gets to sit in the captain's chair with Riker right next to him. And then it's almost like we forget whatever that was the past 2 seasons. He suddenly becomes Captain Picard again. The two of them working together suddenly have that dynamic that we haven't seen in almost 30 years because it wasn't really there in the movies. We see that dynamic of them working together. And I thought it was like I was gritting to ear watching this. Like, my God, it's the 90s or late 80s, early 90s all over again. I'm like, it felt like Star Trek. It's a feeling that on watching new Star Trek, I haven't had since Deep Space Nine went off the air in 1999. It's brought it to a whole new level. And I think if people were to look at this with an open mind and just pretend that nothing, if you're a Next Generation fan, pretend that nothing after All Good Things happened, or pretend nothing, that whatever your endpoint is, your endpoint is the end of DS9, or for some people with no taste, it's Voyager. Sorry, I couldn't resist. My thoughts on that show. But just, your own endpoint, just say, okay, so nothing happened after All Good Things. Then you're going into this. You go into this with that perspective. You're going to look at this differently. You have to forget what came before, because this is a completely different show.
And it's so easy. It's so easy to forget it. Chris, I watched all of those episodes, and I only watched the series 2 a week before this started, and it immediately banished all thoughts of it from my head. So we're talking about episode 4 of series 3 of Star Trek Picard. Here, it's called No Win Scenario. And the premise is, with time running out, Picard, Riker, and the crew must confront the sins of their past and heal fresh wounds, while the Titan, dead in the water, drifts helplessly towards certain destruction within a mysterious space anomaly. This is written by Terry Matalas and Sean Tretter, directed again this week by Jonathan Frakes. I thought this looked just like last week. I don't know if this forms a sort of two-part bottle story. It feels like Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan to some extent, and some of those other bottle episodes, and like a submarine drama in, those kind of movies where people would look at one another, the situation was getting worse, they're in deeper and deeper trouble, facing their own mortality, lots of character drama, lots of pathos, lots of atmosphere. And I was on the edge of my seat. These 55 minutes, I think it was 55 minutes, went like that. So what do you think about this episode this week?
I did enjoy it. A lot of things that Chris said, I obviously registered with it as well. I know Terry Matalas was apologizing for for how dark it was. He was saying that is not the way they graded it. Yeah, they basically didn't grade it, and they don't understand why when they broadcast it. It was especially the bit where PICARD is talking to Riker. When he apologizes to PICARD, that's very, very dark, and the scenes in 10 forwards very, very, very dark as far as I'm concerned. So, and I know Gary Beekler, he got advanced copies, and he said his copy wasn't as dark as when they broadcast.
So this is Gary Beekler from the Nerdrotic.
And I say it actually looked fine on Crave. So it could depend on the service.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how they they broadcasted it, whatever station.
Sorry, I just have to cut in because I have to go do much more boring things. I am interested in what everybody has to say because we're discussing this as they go on, so I'm gonna watch it later on. But yes, unfortunately, folks, I have to sign off to do very, very boring things that are not fun. But I will watch the rest of the stream later on my own. So I like Picard. So that's it. So
take care, Chris.
Thanks for your company, Chris.
Buddy. Probably
see you next time.
Okay.
See you next time, mate. Take care. Bye-bye.
Right.
Bye-bye.
So I did like this episode. I did like the idea that Riker was grappling with his immortality and whether there's anything beyond life. That was a really good discussion he had.
Interesting. It's something that Star Trek doesn't often approach that subject, does it? Because Gene Roddenberry was quite I wouldn't say he was an atheist, but he was quite clear about what he believed. So Star Trek shied away from that. It's very interesting.
But so those are the positive things about it. I love a 7 of 9, how she dealt with the changeling and stuff like that. And I love keep forgetting his name, the grumpy guy. He was fantastic. I love the exchange between when they came up with the plan. He went to his thing and he said to him, they called him a name, whatever, and he goes, yeah, okay, that's fair enough, let's do it. Do you know what I mean? The conversation between Picard and him, they immediately made up because they knew they had to stick with each other to try and survive. Do you know what I mean? So that was brilliant. Within that one sentence, they knew who each other was, and then they, I love all that stuff. But the negative things I didn't like was I think I've lost my train of thought now. I mean, like it was so contrived, the thing about him and his son, when they got away and he was looking at his son and there was that flashback where he was at the bar and all that. I was thinking, no, you are joking. You know what I mean? I can't even remember what happened yesterday, let alone tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? It's how's he going to remember that?
I get flashback fatigue on a lot of modern dramas, and this is no exception. I am a little tired of flashbacks. I think there's been I don't know if there's been a flashback in all 4 episodes so far, but there seem to have been quite a lot, and I don't think the show. I understand that the shape to this, and I understand what it's about, but I think every episode, I'm not so sure. I think these things should be measured to be most effective. Terry, if you're watching us this week.
But I honestly thought that it just didn't feel right to me. It's like they just stuck it in right at the end and stuff like that. In fact, it probably would have been better if his son literally said it to him in 10 forward. He said, you know what, I was there, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't contact you, because you told me that.
If he'd have said before, like, don't you remember?
Yeah,
one
exactly.
night in a bar,
that would have worked better. Yeah, that would have worked better for me. And I loved the ending where all those new creatures came out and stuff. It reminded me of the Abyss, and I thought it was really nice. And
it reminded me of Cocoon.
A bit, yeah, Cocoon as well. And I like how Beverly came up with the idea because she's a doctor and she realizes
love her in this.
And it was terrific, and I like the supporting cast as well. People that don't talk in the background, like this character and the other character.
Likeable.
Yeah, they're all likable. It's you got to take your hat off to Terry. He's basically turned this show around and made it watchable, right?
He's turned this universe around, this fictional universe,
and it has a narrative. The story has a narrative, and it's something to follow. Unlike the first season, which is absolute nonsense. So. And that's where I stop. You know, I did enjoy this episode. I did have a couple of things that really bothered me. But,
yeah, me too.
But apart from that, I enjoyed it, and I recommend, you know, the first four episodes to.
So, is this your favourite one? Because you do that seems to be quite a rave review for you. Was this your favourite one so far?
It was, and I still don't like how dark it looks. I still don't like the way they portray PICARD in this a bit. I think he's a bit soft. As I keep saying, right, my mum is in her 80s. Her attitude towards life, or the person that she's inside, has not changed since I've known her since the 70s. Since I known her since I was a kid. You know what I mean? So I think changing PICARD's character is a bit rubbish, but. You know, it is new Star Trek, so they can do whatever they want.
I was thinking about this the other day, about the conversation that you and I had, Ian, about his age. Yeah. And I don't think his attitude to life has necessarily changed, but I think his attitude towards duty has. And I think he's aware that he's retired, and I think that he feels not a yearning, actually, or even a burn, but I think he feels a pull now and again to do these things. And to be kind of reckless and thinks, okay, it's one thing to endanger myself, but could I endanger other people? I was thinking about this in it because I've rewatched all the episodes of this now, and I watched episode 1 again. And I thought, okay, that's why he holds back from going to rescue Beverly. It's not because he doesn't want to. It's because he thinks, okay, I know she said no Starfleet, but surely, who am I? I'm just one guy. I'm not as physically capable.
That doesn't make any sense, Dan.
No, it makes perfect sense.
PICARD.
Because but he is. They say this multiple times. But he is Starfleet. He's not James T. Kirk. They're different characters. He is Starfleet, and he respects the fact that he was an admiral. He is now retired. This kind of mission now falls on other people. So I think that's why he weighs that up. I can see you shaking your head. I'm not going to convince you. I'm going to move on.
No, mate, I did. You know, it's good. It's good to hear your opinion, and I am considering it. But I still, at this moment,
I'm still considering it. I was just looking at it in a different way.
No. Yeah, I know. I'm considering what you've said, right? But I still thinking about it. I still think no, it's wrong because, as I said, you don't bring back someone as powerful as PICARD in the history of Star Trek and make him a bumbling, dotty old man. You have to have PICARD back, and that's one of the things that I disagree with. But then I'm not running the show, mates. It's up to them really what they do. If it's not my IP, it's up to them. But I can honestly say I enjoyed this episode, so that's a positive. Remember, Ian said a positive, right? There you go. I said a positive. So,
Matt, I spoke to you a couple of days ago, and you couldn't wait. I think we were talking about when our territories were getting the episode, and you said to me, "Oh, you get it then?" When do I get it? I think you're going to stay up and wait until it dropped. So obviously you've seen it now. Did all that anticipation, did it live up to it?
Yeah, it did. And I'll tell you what, never an hour has gone so quickly.
Yeah, you're
right. And I was like, how long has this been going? Oh my God, it's that long, you know. Couple of things niggled me. Vulcans don't hug. They don't hug, and also they don't console as well. And I'm not sure, but I think there was they implied that there was a gay Vulcan. I don't know, but it just seemed, in the bar. And
I suppose there would be. I suppose there probably is gay Vulcan.
Well, yeah, but. Since when are they so horny on the friggin' ship? That's what I want to know. You know, sorry, but wouldn't they?
What took over?
Clean up on R2. Well, maybe. I mean,
they just seemed out of character for the race, anyway.
Yeah.
So I
don't. It wouldn't be for me to say. I'm going to rewatch this episode as well. So
I rewound it. I actually rewound it because I'm like, did I see what I just thought I saw? You know, I was like,
I honestly don't think. I mean, because we know Vulcans have meaningful relationships. They have sexual relationships.
Yeah, but they only have the, what is it, old par or something? What's the name of the
On far.
thing?
On far.
Yeah. Yeah,
No.
but they only have that like every 5 years, isn't it? Or
Don't
something.
know.
If you
Don't
think
know.
you've got 5 hours left to live, you're gonna think, oh no, I can't shag you.
No.
I've gone far.
Oh, no.
I've
Gone too far.
No, it's like a period.
You fill
They
your
only have
boots
it
up,
so many
sunshine. You
times a
fill your
month.
boots.
I don't like the swearing in it as well. Picard swears at one point. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that
don't.
was
Yeah.
Yeah.
unnecessary.
I mean, I don't want to interrupt Matt's stream there. I've got there's a couple of little things about the episode which I was, but I do have a big niggle with this show, even with season 3, and I'll talk about it at length another time. But that is the
please
swear.
do.
That is the swearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I thought I'm undecided. I'm not condemning it. I understand why it's there. And I see why they've written it that way. I also see the connective tissue and the precedent set elsewhere. I also understand, and I would be a hypocrite if I said that I didn't think that swear words are effective in drama and conveying character and mood and the people have been pushed to their limits. Or people being creative with the language. There are a lot of good reasons to use swear words in a script, but there was a lot of swearing in this episode, and I do think in a couple of occasions I didn't see why then,
Necessary.
why.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to watch
Yeah.
it again, and I'll be. Again, it doesn't spoil the episode for me, and it doesn't break the characters for me. I respect that it's a creative decision they've clearly made, and as I say, it is the way that this universe has evolved.
Well,
not
Dan,
just
if I could
since
just stop you,
2017.
if I could just stop you there, according to some streamers, that line, that swear word, was uttered by Patrick Stewart, and it wasn't in the screenplay, apparently.
Oh, he had lived it.
So yeah, so there you go.
I wonder why you would have felt that.
Don't know if that's true
felt to
either.
do that.
But I've seen a lot of streams.
Picard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Scope a
Yeah,
card.
I don't know if that's true. But if it is, then it's just ridiculous. You could have just cut that out. It's
Yeah,
just-
he's an
Some
executive
actors-
producer, though.
Some
sorry,
actors
sorry,
swear.
PD.
Sorry, he is an executive producer on this show. That thing might
Of
be able to
course.
sneak it
Yeah,
in.
of
Yeah.
Marshall.
PD, some actors swear very well, don't they? They make it seem so
Yeah.
natural, very funny, and they make it seem like they say that word all the time. For all I
Yeah.
know, Patrick Stewart's got a mouth like a sailor.
Oh yeah.
But when he swore in this, it didn't seem. It
Seemed wrong.
No, you're right.
It didn't seem authentic.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Exactly. I mean, in the movies, there's always 1 or 2 swear words in the Star Trek movies, but they always go with the characters being like the absolute edge.
Yeah.
Like Data
Yeah.
just got his emotion chip, and it's like, he said the S word. Lily was swearing her head off because she was from ancient Earth, and Riker said the B word in Insurrection because
Yeah.
he'd had enough.
Yeah.
But they're just swearing a bit too much, and I think you're right. I need to cut that down.
Mm. I like how they. I like how
I'm not
they.
going to condemn them for it.
Yeah, I like how they basically explained away 10 Forward about the energy that they used to
Oh,
make
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Just explained it away. So how comes we're not using the power? No,
yeah.
well.
Very convenient, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a funny.
That was from Voyager, I think.
It is, though.
Trojan.
Yeah, it is from Voyager.
We have closed service now, don't we? We do have a
Yeah.
precedent for that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So
It's
in
like,
a few hundred years' time,
honestly, I thought they were going to go, well, we haven't got any more power. Oh, let's just take it from the extra energy cell that we have for holographic.
Yeah.
thought-
It's like, that would
crossed my
make
mind.
sense.
That crossed my mind as well. Yeah.
There is a sensible idea for it, though. The hologram does go rogue again. You could just pull the power cell,
Yeah.
turn it off,
Uh,
won't kill the whole ship.
yeah. It's as I said, it's a great episode, and I love the bit
Yeah.
where Riker threw a rock at the ship. That was fantastic. I was like,
Oh,
yes,
Bang.
beat the crap out of us. Yeah, it was really
Again.
good. It was
Well,
really
if they
good.
can throw a
That
ship,
was
they can throw an
great
asteroid.
moment.
But
Yeah. Sorry.
why they wouldn't do that before?
Was that Dan?
I think
was a
it's
great moment.
I think it was
Oh, it was a great moment.
very visual, very
Yeah.
imaginative,
Yeah.
and I didn't see that coming because it's not the kind of thing you see on.
Yeah.
Well, you do, but you do see resolutions as creative as that on Star Trek, but they're usually done with you see some hands move across a panel, and you're told that something's
Yeah.
or a very simple graphic, but to actually literally see it, because obviously they can do more. They can sell us those kind of things now on CGI that they couldn't, certainly in the 90s and probably even 15 years ago when Enterprise was last on. And it's just a fun idea. It's an imaginative idea, and it's a kind of, I don't know if it's a reckless thing to do, but it's a bold thing to do, and it perfectly fits with a character like Riker.
Riker, yeah. I mean, I'm loving Riker, and also
Fantastic.
I'm loving Picard's son as well. I think Picard's son is turning into a real hero. So even though it looks like he was
Superb
just
actor.
someone that was running around, stealing stuff, he's coming across as I said, I'd be happy to watch a whole series with that guy in it. Him and the captain from the Titan. That'd be amazing. That'd be really good. But
Well, like I said, for me, he's a perfect mash between Tom Hardy, who did sort of play Kirk's someone, Tom Hardy and Chris Pine. Sorry, yes, we got one version of Picard and one version of Kirk.
Yeah,
I think they've even been in the film together. Those two guys. It's like those two actors have been pushed together to make this hero, give him a British accent, a bit of swagger.
Yeah,
and he's a great character, and they must be eyeing him up. Well, actually, they're not eyeing him up, are they? Because Terry Matalas is not working on Star Trek now, and for the moment, one can only hope that I think there's a petition online to sort of to install Terry, because quite clearly this man has passion and vision, imagination, and the backing of these actors.
If they gave Terry the reins to make a feature Star Trek film, then I think he'll do really well. I think just leave him alone to do one.
To manage his resources and
give him a limited budget. Don't give him a budget that swelled like the JJ Star Trek. Just give him a minimum budget. Let him work within those parameters. I think he'll give us something very special. But then that's just me, right? So anyway,
I completely agree. There are numerous things about this episode which stood out to me. I said earlier on about the whole sort of submarine movie atmosphere to it. I'm not one for those kinds of films, generally speaking. War movies of that nature, we'll put them in outer space, like in The Wrath of Khan, and I'm there. I'm sold. Things going beep and bop, and it just works for me. The plot with Vadik, I think that's thickening up nicely, giving Amanda Plummer lots to get her teeth into. I think she's still turning in a great performance, which could so easily go over the top, go awry. I liked the fact that a lot of the beats to it around the character moments were kind of riffs on things we'd seen before in The Undiscovered Country and other things, like when Seven discovers where the changelings pale is. Little things. We've seen things like that, hidden behind a ventilator or a lighting panel. It's pure Star Trek, but we've seen these things before, but we haven't seen them for years. And when so much else going on is new, I'm not going to begrudge them leaning on some of these things.
I'll tell you what, Dan. One of the best things about this episode is there was no Raffi. Yes, no Raffi. Thank God.
I would have liked to have seen more from them. I do like.
That may go into
them.
next episode.
I like them both now. I think this is the closest that we've had to and this has been since 2017. This is the closest that we've had to an episode of Trek from its 90s heyday, where we've got an A plot, a B plot, and probably a C plot as well. There were lots of different things going on here, and because it got the extra runtime, it didn't feel too much. The plot with the Changeling and Seven, when Riker said, look, I'm not going to install you back in your old position, so you can go off and you can hunt this thing down. And it just all plays out really nicely. And Jerry Ryan has never been so good as Seven of Nine as she is in this. And I've always liked this actress. So it's just a joy to watch. Speaking of the Changeling,
she needs a catsuit back. Sorry, she does.
I think you'll find that's your toxic masculinity speaking, my friend.
Don't give a shit.
I want to mention.
Wash your mouth out with soap water, boy.
I want to mention this on-screen tribute to the late actor Rene Auberjonois. I think that's how you pronounce it. So we see his pale there on Shaw's tablet when he's advising Seven what she should look for when hunting the changeling, and just for a split second we see Constable Odo there on the panel, and his pail. Yeah, Deep Space Nine, obviously that was a constant to that show. Love it so much. Get in your bucket. Yeah, so that was nice. And talking about obviously Captain Shaw.
Oh, the thing is, they leave residue.
They do. Apparently, they do. They leave a goo. Captain Shaw, this character also deepens the fact that he was an engineer, the fact that he has a sense of humour after all, his connection to Picard, which everybody else saw coming apart from me, that he was at the Battle of Wolf 359, obviously from the cliffhanger to season 3 of Next Gen into season 4, unforgettable, seminal piece of TV sci-fi, let alone seminal Star Trek, and the actor whose name I've forgotten now. It's terrible. I did have it written down on the last show, and he conveyed that beautifully. I believed everything that he was saying, and when he said, a Borg that was so evil, they gave him a name. All that, it's very evocative. And obviously, Picard, we've seen him for decades now, struggling to live with what his other self did, as well as his own PTSD. The fact that this has haunted him, I think we saw that in First Contact very effectively, and we saw it to a lesser extent in other things. But again, I think all the actors just were. I think those scenes were kind of underwritten and almost underplayed, and that's refreshing in this kind of TV too. I say that looking across at other big shows. In the in the big IPs and the smaller stuff, I haven't seen anything as finely tuned as this for a long time. Probably since Game of Thrones at its peak.
I agree. I thought it was really the right thing to do when he kicked off and he was talking about how Picard would give Picard a name and he was special, and what he did, whatever. Picard just got up and said, no, it's fine, it's fine. Let him kick off, and then he walked out. It's very, very, it's very nice of him not to.
And then he apologised, which was weird.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, that's the right thing to do. Even though he wasn't in control of himself and he was taken over by the Borg, it's still something that he did. And he basically, he didn't want to add to his pain, did he? So he left, and that was a good thing. Other than the episode that had him squinting when Crusher came in and he realised that was his son. That was just ridiculous, over-the-top acting. That should never have happened. It should have just been one look and then he knew. Do you know what I mean?
It's off everybody.
It was like he was on stage or something. He was trying to... I couldn't believe it. I was like, is he trying to do a poo or something? What's going on there? I was like, what the hell's going on?
There, you're ageist, you terrible person. It was nice to see. I don't know if you, PD, I know you're a big Star Trek guy. Did you get a kick out seeing the old holodeck back as well with the patterns there?
Oh, yes. Did you also see the Arcanus Easter egg to Deep Space Nine? The Arcanus system from Way of the Warrior mentioned.
There was so many... Well, I say Easter eggs, references, I suppose. It's deeply entrenched into Star Trek lore.
Yeah.
Why create a new planet name or a name of a new fungus when you can use the old fungus from whatever episode? It's casual viewers don't care. It's just gobbledygook to them, and people who've watched Star Trek since they were kids are just going to feel that this is the place that they grew up in. Yeah. But now, all these little visual things, the elements of the production design. I mean, I know the Yakudas. I don't know if the Yakudas have been estranged from it, but I know the Yakudas are back on.
They haven't been ever since the. I'm a big fan of the Yakudas. Ever since the J.J. Abrams went off the rails and decided to throw cannon to the dogs, one of the first things that went was the Yakudas.
Yeah.
And one of the first things that Terry's brought back is the Yakutas, and you can really tell that they've used their knowledge of this show, and that's one of the things that I'm most happy about is the fact that they've given some credence to the past and the people that work behind the scenes as well. So yeah.
You know where the Yakutas are? Do you know where they are at the moment, the Yakutas?
No.
They're in the archive. They're in the archive. They're working on the Roddenberry archive with Eugene Roddenberry.
What does that entail?
He's a worry.
Is it a literal archive behind a massive safe door with all off-cuts old film trims from the original series and old scripts and stuff like that? What do you mean by the archive?
They are trying to kind of virtually archive Star Trek. There's a company called Otoy that's involved, and Eugene Roddenberry and the Yakudas are down there trying to archive stuff and trying to get things to look like the original Star Trek. I think it's quite funny that they sent Eugene there. It's probably there to learn about canon, so he doesn't get it wrong again. But yeah, they're down there. If you look up their website, Otoy, you can watch all the videos. They're trying their hardest to find new filming techniques, new ways to actually archive the past of Star Trek. There's a lot going on down there. It's quite interesting.
I've seen a picture of them with Terry Matalas this week, and it was. Yeah. I think you can see by the smile on his face. I would imagine it's not the first time he's met them. He's worked with them, but you can see the thrill is still there, Matt. And I think that. Yeah. I mean, I know that we're not even halfway through this season yet, Matt. I mean, that's the good news.
No, this is the first show that I've ever looked forward to every week, and I know that there's a lot of people that have watched the whole series, and I really want to watch the whole series. But you know what? I've been so excited about waiting per week to see a new show that I'm willing to wait, because it's been a long time coming since I've been this excited.
You're absolutely right.
Anything.
The plots are deepening. The characters are being pushed. I feel pushed to their limits. Particularly Riker again this week. The scenes between him and Troy, and not necessarily the ones where Marina Sirtis was on screen as Troy, because she was there a couple of times. But the scenes between him and Troy where he was speaking to her without her being present. God, that stuff was powerful, and I really felt for the character, and I felt too. It wasn't just seeing Riker going through that, but I was imagining Troy and their daughter getting the message, however many years in the future. It's so powerful. And these characters, you've been watching these for 35 years as well. And
it's just a shame they wrapped it up so fast, though, at the ending where she goes, "Oh, I never heard you speak like that." It's a shame, because I thought that bit needed more legs, basically, to actually.
Well, I suppose.
It's like they're wrapping up the episode. It felt like
I got the impression that this was kind of wrapping up a two-parter, and that the season is moving into its next phase with the next episode. And obviously we're going to see Marina Sirtis again. We're going to see her actually there with everybody else, and so the situation
they don't
will
get
evolve.
them all together like they do with bloody Luke, Anne, and Leia, like what they did with them
got
three.
To happen, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, they have to. And I'm still like, where's Geordie?
He's coming.
Yeah.
They're keeping us waiting for LeVar Burton.
The bit that got me, though, is and it's, if anyone has buried a loved one, the bit where he talks about as the casket gets lowered into that really got to me. Do you know what I mean? It's just something you always think about, when you lose a loved one, so. That's really good writing, in my opinion. But anyway,
superb stuff. I do wonder, how much better can this show get?
A lot more, I hope.
I worry that I'm coming across as some sort of giddy fanboy, but then again, that's why I started doing this in the first place, because in many respects, I am a giddy fanboy. I was going to say so
is me.
Sort of, this time.
What gets me is the fact if Paramount doesn't actually see the improvement.
Well, we don't know. They might do.
No. But I'm just saying, if they don't see the improvement, and see how it's been received, how the positivity has been received. Yes, there's been some negatives, but they're negative Nellies anyway. They're awful people. They just It's not even watching it, and they're going to complain about it.
No, we're not in. We're definitely not. And I think if you bear in mind that Strange New Worlds, that show happened because of a genuine momentum and an appetite from within the fan base. They latched onto Anson Mount in particular as Christopher Pike and saw an opening, and they didn't petition them to make it. But there was just rumblings that you'd be mad if you didn't make this show, and that made a noise enough for them to actually commission it, to create the show and commission it, get it made, and they were rewarding that with a TV creative and commercial success. But that was a mumbling compared to the noise that's being kicked up in the wake of this, for people saying, okay, we need more of this. We need more of Terry Matalas and anybody who, in his judgment, he would bring on board to Star Trek to propel it creatively into the future, ideally in the 25th century. I think that does seem to be the era that Terry personally prefers. I'm sure I've heard him say that, and I think we can just keep our fingers crossed that it's going to happen. Yeah, so that's what I think is going to go on next week, PD. I think that we're going to get effectively the next phase beginning. It feels like a season of 20. Do you remember in each season of 24? I know that Ian, you're a big 24 fan.
Yeah,
Matt, did you watch? Yeah, we talked about 24 recently, didn't we? So in 24, there'd be a bad guy at the start. You think, oh God, what a nasty bastard! Horrible person. But after about 7 or 8 episodes, it would be revealed that nasty was working for a much nastier.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously coming with this, isn't it? So we had the scene where Vadik chops off her arm. I didn't, again,
melts her arm.
Gross. But
melts.
People had to go to see Terry to actually ask what the hell that was all about.
Oh, I know.
They'd never ever seen a changeling, and it's been said that she's a changeling now. So and it's just the fact that you're just like, well, I can't see. I've never seen a changeling separate before. I don't know if it's even possible, but obviously, they have to reattach. But it was just a little bit out of. That was a little bit. I was like, what the hell's going on here? And it looked very fleshy too. If you noticed, it looked very fleshy too. It didn't look like horrible. A normal. Yeah.
Sorry, PD, what you were going to say?
It looks to me like some kind of subspace version of the Great Link. Remember they link together, but it's probably done over subspace. But that's why she chopped it off and turned herself into
that scene where the changeling was the cadet. And Seven had sort of realised that he was the changeling, and he started to run after her, and she was shooting the bugger. And then he sort of turned into a blob and went up through the cavities. And God, that was fantastic. Yeah, the simplest of things. We've seen other movies and TV shows do that.
The thing is that really gets me is like she shoots and shoots and shoots at him, and nothing really happens. And then there's when Geordie's daughter comes in, and she just shoots her straight in the chest, and it's like, yeah, that'll kill her. It's like, what?
I think it was set to disrupt.
Sense is like, do they have a heart? What?
She was very close.
Make any sense.
I don't know.
I think if you go back and watch it again, there's probably something. There's been things about some of these episodes where I've thought, hang on, why that? And then I go back and I've watched them all twice. And don't get me wrong, you shouldn't have to go back and watch this stuff twice. I'm not saying that at all. Before somebody says that. But when I go back, it was in there. And so it was, my attention had wavered, or maybe I was thinking, because this happens a lot as well, is that I'm thinking about some other elements of the plot. Something's caught my imagination, and I miss a bit of dialogue. I think we're all human. We all do it. I know there are people. It's that simple.
Yeah. I'm planning to rewatch this as soon as this is all out. I'm planning to rewatch it.
If you haven't, I would recommend it. I've got something out of every rewatch of the 3 that I've done so far. So I would recommend it. Star Trek Picard Season 3 continues this week. So it's on March the 16th on Paramount. Plus, you get Episode 5 there. And then Amazon Prime's video service in most other international locations. We get that the next day. Got to wait an extra 24 hours. But it makes quite a nice evening for me. I get all geeky with this and a couple of other shows. And it's my geeky night in. So, yes, let us know what you think of all this in the comments section as we continue our mission, our voyage aboard the USS Titan with Star Trek Picard Season 3. Keeping track of Trek here on Warp Drive. Let us know what you think of it all in the comments section and what we haven't picked up on. Where do you think it's going to go in the remaining 6 episodes?